Hi everyone, we're back talking about Natsume's Book of Friends. So my plan is to do episodes 8 and 9 today, and then we're going to finish out the rest of season 1 next week so we can move on to season 2. We got some good episodes. We start this episode off with Natsume talking to a man by a lake about some fireflies, and he has this yokai hanging around him, but he doesn't really seem to notice. That same yokai tells Natsume her story about how her and that man were previously friends as, teenagers, and now that he's an adult, he can no longer see her. The yokai does not have a name, so Natsume gives her a name, Kyo, and Kyo decides to stay with him until her friend gets married. Something I want to touch on is Natsume has conflicting feelings about not able to see yokai possibly when he's older. Before, he didn't want anything to do with them, but I think now that he's made a few connections, made a few friends that are yokai, he doesn't really want to lose all of that. That's some character growth from him that I like to see it, and I'm curious if we will see Natsume grow up as the show goes along. I'm not too sure. Natsume saves the man from earlier from a yokai. That man knows Natsume can see them. He has a hunch, but he cannot see yokai himself, it's really bothering Natsume. Kyo later tells Natsume his name is Akifumi, who was ostracized from his family and friends because he could see yokai. And that's really similar to Natsume, so there's a parallel there. But anyway, these two characters, Kyo and Akifumi, the two were connected by both being lonely, both seeming to be ostracized, and they never acted on it, but you could tell, they even mentioned it later, that they had romantic feelings towards one another. We cut back to when Akifumi can no longer see Kyo, or I should say he does reveal her name was Hotaru, and he still came to see her anyway, even though he felt she didn't care for him. He decided to turn back into her original form as a firefly, even though she knows she can no longer turn back into human form anymore. That's the catch. So now she will live the life of a life expectancy of a firefly. She does it though because she wants to see Akifumi one last time, and we get this gorgeous shot of Akifumi's he and his wife are walking, and we see the fireflies all around them, and it's just beautiful. Hotaru also says goodbye to Natsume, and he reflects on this episode. Even if he's not able to see them, he will still have the memories of the yokai he's met along the way. And I really liked this episode. This is an 8 out of 10 for me. I like it because not only does Natsume grow as a character, I also really love long-distance lover storylines. Especially we haven't seen a concept yet where a yokai and a human are this close together. They have romantic feelings towards one another. So there's just something about it that was really compelling. I really enjoyed this. I think it was well executed, some beautiful shots. But yeah, let's move on to episode 9. Natsume is taking Nyaga-sensei for a walk for some exercise because he's getting a little pudgy. And this is where he meets Natori, a famous actor who has this really interesting looking lizard tattoo. Natsume continues to take Nyaga-sensei for a walk. He meets a yokai with a rope around her neck that really doesn't pay any mind to Natsume, just wants him to leave her alone. Omori tested Natsume earlier at night, or later at night, if he could see yokai, because he reveals he can also see yokai. He meets with Natsume the next day to offer him a job as an assistant, and he doesn't mean for his acting job. For in the public, he does do acting, but for his side job, he's an exorcist, which really interesting. With talking to him, we also find out some other details. The lizard tattoo is also a yokai, and it travels around him. So creepy too, around his face, around his arm, super creepy. And he also has 2 yokai assistants as well. It doesn't seem like he wants the job. But as they're talking, a yokai comes out of nowhere wanting the Book of Friends and does try to attack him, and Notori does attack him back, which Natsume was not okay with. He wanted to reason with him. The two of them have a conversation about their conflicting ideals of yokai, which is really interesting on a couple of fronts. Natsume wants to understand the yokai, and he wants to, help them, with their problems, while Notori helps them in a different way, in a lot more aggressive way from what we can assume. He's had some negative experiences in the past. The other is Notori is also the opposite of Natsume, like how he is very popular amongst people, while Natsume is not. The two share common ground of putting on an act in front of others because they've both experienced the pain of being the only ones to see yokai. Natsume runs into the yokai from earlier as she tells her story of how she was a guardian of the mountains and a priest tied her to the house for the protection of the house. Really messed up. Boy helped her in the past. We learn later that boy was Notori who wanted to exorcise her, and there's this conflict that happens between Natsume and such. He doesn't realize he misjudged him because Notori just helped her get the rope she was tied to off, and the yokai Higuri is set free and decides to work for Notori, and he and Natsume aren't able to agree on their ideals, but they'll help each other in need. This was another really good episode, like an 8 out of 10 for sure. Notori is a character I want to see him again because he brings such an interesting dynamic to Natsume. I like that also, it's about not judging people based off their appearances, and they make this guy obviously villain-like, but I like that he looks similar to Natsume, but he's the complete opposite of Natsume in different ways. And I like that he's not, it seems like he could be a villain later down the road, but he could also just be an ally. He could make that turn at any point, which is super interesting to have in the story. So yeah, I really liked these two episodes compared to some past episodes, and I'm excited to finish the season 1 next week. But until then, I will see you all next time. Stay cozy.